Well, it is after 9 o'clock, and so we're going to get started, and anybody that joins us will just join in. So Jeff is going to bring us breakfast for the for those of you guys in person while we get together for the next 6 weeks. So come hungry, because he is bringing plenty of food. If you have not already grabbed a bite, you're welcome to do so. This is a 2-part class, so we'll have lead generation for the first hour and then lead management.
With almost 100 remodels complete and improved in-stock and store standards.
Okay, go to, if anybody hops on without mute, you have the ability to mute them. So welcome to the Fall Success Series. We do this twice a year. So typically it is a 6-week period of time. We get together on Wednesdays from 9 to 11. This year we started the 2 hours. So 2 hours in one day, because people were asking for, hey, if I'm going to get here for 1 hour, I might as well get 2 hours of CE and go ahead and get that knocked out. And so we've tried to partner all of our classes where they all make sense. So like today will be generation and then lead management. That makes sense. I mean, if you're going to generate the business, how are you going to keep the business? How are you going to convert the business? And so we'll do that as a 2-part series. You can stay for both, or you can just leave after the one. It's up to you. And that's the reason we split it up like we did. If you do leave, be sure that you just exit quietly, because I'm going to roll right into the second class pretty quickly after the first one ends. And then I've always booked enough time at the very end for questions. Those of you guys on Zoom, just use the chat feature. Brandy Squires, a loan officer on our team, it's monitoring all of the chat on Zoom. And then Tracy Cherry, also a loan officer. Tracy and Brandy are in the Pottsboro office, is keeping an eye on everything on the screen on Zoom from this end too. We wanted to make sure that there was a good experience, both live and in person. Sometimes that can be a bit challenging. One of the challenges that we've had in the past is whenever you're asking a question here in person, then those on Zoom can't hear. We can hear Zoom because we're listening through the TV speaker. So we thought we had a workaround. We don't until next week. We'll try a new technology, but I'm going to just spin the camera your way and we'll see if they can hear whenever we do that. If not, I'll have to repeat the question so we can answer the question online. But this is interactive. So if you guys do have questions, or you have some examples, or you want to elaborate, please feel free to do so, because it gets boring to sit for 1 hour and just listen to someone talk. Plus, you just learn from each other better than you do from one person. So I want you guys to feel free to ask those questions. But first, I want, one more thing. Again, if you came in afterwards, be sure to sign in. And if you're here for CE, make sure I have your licensing information. If you're here for Oklahoma and or Texas, make sure I have the license number for whatever state you want us to record the CE for. If you have not registered for this class online on Eventbrite, raise your hand. Fabulous. You guys follow instructions really well. Thank you very much. Because when you do that, that's our record of who attended. And it also gives you a copy of everything that we've talked about today in a slide presentation. And you'll get a link to the YouTube to rewind and rewatch. So if you miss something, rather than make copies of slides these days, you guys take your own notes in your own way, knowing that you're going to get the slides later and you're going to get the recording. So whether you're, however you're a learner, you'll have it all those ways. This is a class that's sponsored by the Realtor Association's Education Committee. Through that sponsorship, if you attend all classes for the next 6 weeks, then they will give you a quarter free MLS dues. So be sure you sign in every time register with Eventbrite. That's your best way for us to keep records of that. Plus, you won't get the slides if you don't. So always do the Eventbrite login. Please share this information with more people. The more educated we are as professionals in this business, the better our profession is perceived by the consumer. So spread the news in your offices about these classes and upcoming classes. Next week, we will be going over capitalizing on marketing opportunities and partnerships that drive business. And then the following week will be ChatGPT and AI and using that for content marketing. And then we'll roll into content marketing strategies for real estate agents. And then we'll cover Google My Business for real estate agents. How many of you guys are already on Google? You've already done a Google Places. If you have not, between now and then would be a good time for you to get that done. And if you need instructions, let me know. Because the class that we're going to do coming up in on the 20th, it's not going to be how to do it. It's going to be assuming that you have done it. So how do you make sure that you rank? You guys, y'all are one of how many in this area? A lot. And so for you guys to show up when people are looking for a real estate agent, you've got to do all of the things to make sure you show up. And Google is one of the biggest. So we'll go cover that, and then capitalizing on reviews. And then next to the last series, we'll get social. So social media marketing, again, you gotta have it in order to be seen and be found. If you've been doing business like Jim for the last 35 years or however long it's been, he's got a database full of people that know how to find him. But if you're newer to the business, you need to be found. So we'll go over get social and then the power of video. And then the last class, we'll be able to wrap all of this up and talk business planning. So it'll be a 2-hour work course where you guys are doing the work to put your business plan together for 2024, because it'll be that time. It'll be at that time we're hitting into October. Does that sound like a good lineup for you guys? All right. So we tried to make this a great evolution for you guys so we get to the point where we can start business planning and you have a better understanding about what you want to do. All right, Jeff, you want to come up here and introduce yourself really quick? Again, you guys give a big thank you for breakfast from Jeff.
Thank you.
And there by my email. Would you mind entering that in chat for me?
Absolutely.
So I can. Hi, Jeff Lees with Ameriprise Financial. I'm not going to take much of your time. I just want to make y'all aware that as a financial advisor, I am focusing my business on helping realtors. I'm trying to make myself a resource for y'all. Being a realtor is great. I did it during COVID and had to renew during COVID and didn't have the money during COVID. So here I am now with Ameriprise Financial. Been here about a year. Loving the job, loving the company. We're fiduciary in every way, and we do nothing but give advice that's good for you, even if it's not as good for our pocketbooks. So areas that we concentrate in are things such as retirement. Obviously, y'all are 1099 employees almost across the board. Maybe your spouse's work, you have 401ks and such, but we can help with the IRAs, the Roth IRAs, mega Roths. We've got all sorts of retirement strategies that just you're probably not going to find on Google and be able to implement yourself. We got savings for education, all sorts of 529 plans, just other life insurance that you can use as cash value, that sort of thing. We've got insuring your life and your income, obviously term life, whole life, variable life. And then we got disability insurance. We've got a reasonable rating for realtors. A lot of companies are thinking y'all are in a dangerous business, and you really are. And it is safety month, I believe. So that ties in. But we can get you an affordable rate on disability insurance as well. Increasing your wealth. I mean, that's obviously what financial advisors are mostly known for. That trying to pad our commissions, but that's not why I'm here. We're trying to increase your wealth and get you to retirement where everybody wins if they have enough money. So I can also help with the almost client, almost got the right credit score, almost got the right amount of down payment. Sometimes we all know what it takes for them to get there. Sometimes I can tell them, even if I don't receive a commission, I'm going to sit down with them and say, okay, this is what we do initially. And I'm going to tell you, quit going to Starbucks, cut up the credit cards and start paying your bills down. And I can do it in such a way that they might listen and still not ruin your sale. So feel free to contact me anytime you got somebody. Just say, hey, I got somebody that can help you get there, and put me in for 45 minutes to an hour, and I'll go from there. It's just a way of helping y'all out. Anybody gets their sale, they're like, wow, I've got all this cash. What do I do with it? Probably not likely to happen. Everybody knows what they're going to do with their money. But in the interim, if they're going to buy a house in 6 months, we've got money market funds that are paying 5.32% on money markets. There's no fees. It's 1 day in and 1 day out. It's through Fidelity. If you wanted to buy it yourself, all you'd need is a measly $10 million to be able to institute it. So Ameriprise is dumping so much money in. There's no fee. There's no minimum. You can put $1 in if you really think you need to. But it's a great vehicle for just short-term cash, making a little bit of money. All right. And then finally, we've got a vehicle for 1031 exchanges. It's complicated, like all 1031 exchanges, but we can get them out of the rat race of finding another land deal and making it stick. It's great also for, they're going to 1031 exchange, but the last thing they want to do at the end of the year is get hit by this tax bill if the exchange properties and the deals fall through. I can get you in from start to finish in about 15 days, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But you have to have us listed as one of the 1031 exchange properties when you originally get your 45 days. So like I said, it's a little more complicated. It's for accredited investors. So we're looking at, the $1 million clients, but all the land that's for sale around here and the way the prices have gone up, they've got a whole lot of value in it, and they don't have a whole lot of interest in it. So it's going to be 80–90% capital gains. So that's it for my little speech. Y'all all understand compliance. Since I brought food, I need all of you to at least give me your name, phone number, and email address. I don't get my feelings hurt if you write big across the top. Do not call. So I just need that information. As a matter of fact, speaking of calling, some of y'all may have gotten a cold call from me already. Some of y'all should be, actually all of you should be prepared to if you answer the phone, because I'm trying to get myself out there as helping y'all out and, at building my business along the way. So I appreciate everybody's time.
We all understand that.
Well, you guys, I can't stress the importance right now, and we're going to talk about in one of the classes, partnerships. Savings are down, historically low. Credit card usage is up, historically high. And so your buyers are going to wherever they're going and asking for money in a position they typically are not in, where a higher percentage than we have ever seen, I think. Well, not for me, because I've been doing it for 30 years, but it's been a long time since we've seen buyers in the financial position that they're in. When credit card usage goes up, what goes down? Besides our bank accounts. Credit scores. So we've got low credit scores, we have high credit card usage, we have low savings. So having a financial advisor that is willing to have the tough conversations with your buyers is huge. And whenever you're selling a property, your seller knowing what they're going to do with the assets, if they have not had someone look at their financial situation, they may not make the wisest of decisions whenever it comes to netting money and putting money in their pocket, because that is their one chance in a it might be another 7 to 10 years before they have that much money in their hands all at one time. And so what they do with that money really matters. I mean, this could be generational changes in shifts if they are smart with the money that you helped them make. So take that responsibility serious and counsel your people by connecting them with people that you trust to have those tough conversations on what should be done with the money. That part is really, really important because you guys could be set up to be a hero instead of helping them get to a place of zero back to zero again in their bank accounts because they did not spend the money wisely that you helped them make. I forgot one more housekeeping. If you are here on Zoom for CE, you have to have your camera on. If you do not, and BJ's responsibility is to monitor that. So be sure that you have your cameras on if you're wanting CE credit. I'm going to share slides, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult for us on our side to see what's going on. I'm frozen. To see what's going on in the chat. But Brandy and BJ are watching that closely, and Chase.
Can you get my name right?
No, I can't. I was fixing to call you Cherry again. Will you get to the huh?
It's not called Chasing Cherry.
Cherry? That's what I'm doing there. All right. So since we're on the laptop, what I have found to work is
Oh my God.
doing it this way. We're going to get started on lead generation. How many of you guys feel like you really understand lead generation really well? And you know what you're doing to get business? Who has a great strategy for how they're getting business?
Start getting slow. What do you do?
Yeah. There was a question that one of our coaches put in the chat. For the sake of time, I won't try to pull it up, but here was the question. If your mortgage payment relied on you closing and funding a deal in the next 30 days, I mean, it was that or no mortgage payment, what would you be doing today to make sure that you had a funded transaction in 30 days? Anybody have an idea? Where would they go that's like sure money for them? Like I have got to have a funded transaction or I can't make my mortgage payment. No? How many of you guys have CRMs that you're actively working? Okay. I mean, you look around the room. If your answer is no, you can see you're in the majority. So I always think about that. Like if I have to have something that is going to close and fund today, where would I go? Where would I be generating some business from? Well, for me, it's going to be pre-approved buyers. So those of you guys who do have a CRM, how many of you update the stage or the status of your buyer so you know you could click a button and have a report of everybody that's already pre-approved and out house hunting right now? That part's really important. And so we'll talk about that more on the lead management side, but I want you guys to be thinking about that. Like if my mortgage payment depended on me generating a referral today, where would I go for that referral? How many of you guys have been in business more than 5 years? How many of you have been in the business more than 1 year? Another source for you is to go back to the customers that you've already done business with and get referrals from them. They already know, like, and trust you, right? So we're going to talk about some of those things today, but I also like to clearly explain the importance of, and I've got several stories that I will share with you on why it's important. But first, I'm just going to open your mind, just expand your mind on where there's opportunities for you to generate referrals. All right. Now, please know and understand, to each his own. So whenever I say client to client referrals, when you have a referral, you have an opportunity for another referral, right? The friends and family of the person you're working with. When you're working with someone, they are your best source of referral in that moment. Why? Gina, why?
Because they know you, they know that your work is hard for them, they know other people who are out working, and they are going to give them your contact information.
Absolutely.
And it just rolls from there.
So it's the enthusiasm. They know you, they like you, they trust you, and they're excited right now. And that emotion is infectious. So everybody around them knows they're in the process of buying a house because they haven't stopped talking about it, right? So your best referral source is always the client you're working with right now. They are the happiest. Your second best, it's right there on the screen, but who is the second best? Opportunity for another referral. People you've already done business with. Because again, they already know you, they like you, they trust you. But are you reminding them that you are in the business, the referral business? You're not Rocket. You're not paying for Super Bowl ads. You're not buying business. You're doing an excellent job because you care, because you really are excited about real estate, and you need their referrals in order to stay in business. So if your mortgage depended on you generating a referral this week, somebody you could work with, go to those that you're working with right now, and go to those that you've worked with in the past. And we'll talk next hour on how you're going to remember what kind of systems to put in place so that you're staying in front of the people that you've done business with in the past and the present. Business partners. So I've listed builders, lenders, financial advisors. You got 2 of those in the room. 3 of us, really. 4 of us with Alexa. Financial CPAs, insurance agents, credit counselors. Y'all, all day long, they're getting people ready to buy a house. People fix their credit. What do they want to buy? Houses and cars. You need to get them into a house before they buy the car because it'll wreck their credit all over again. Not really wreck it, but lower their scores. Divorce attorneys. I got a divorce attorney story for you in just a few minutes. Estate attorneys, trust attorneys. Those are 3 different attorney sources. They're in 3 different offices, 3 different specialties. Real estate attorneys, huh?
And a fourth.
And a 4th. So I've got a cousin that sells real estate in the Austin area for Magnolia. And she called me about 7 months ago and she said, I haven't closed a deal since October. Her husband was in the process of writing a book. I meant to bring a copy of his book because I was going to give it away and I left it. He has some military retirement income, but it wasn't enough. They'd been relying on her real estate income as well. And she hadn't closed anything. I think this was February when she called me. So however many months ago that's been, about 7. She said, I'm desperate. What do I do? She said, I've been doing everything you've told me to do on HomeBot. I'm sending my videos out. I'm watching my activities. I'm following up on people. She had started a newsletter that had a really interesting blog that she and I talked about. And so this was a specialty newsletter tailored to her personality. And that was going over really well. And her newsletter list was growing. So she was doing all of those things. She was in her CRM. I'd helped her get her CRM set up. She was doing all of her follow-ups on her CRM, but still was like transactions. What do I do next? So I said, try this for me. Go to divorce attorneys and do pop buys. Go at least once a month, but it'd be best if you went every other week. She said, okay, what do I take? Y'all know what pop buys are, right? That's just when you take a gift, popping by. It could be, just a book. A friend of mine wrote this book. I thought you would be interested in this book. Heather, she's an amazing person. She's been raising her grandson with autism, and he was never supposed to learn to speak and not have much quality of life. And guess what? He's a normal little boy, rambunctiously playing, learning, growing. And I love her story. I'm sharing her book with you in case, blah, blah, blah. It's a pop by, right? And Heather's in this room. And now she's embarrassed. She's an amazing human. Y'all need to meet her. Anyway, so she said, well, what do I take? Well, your mom was in the florist business and you learned how to do floral arrangements. You could take a cheap flower and make it look like a beautiful, expensive flower arrangement, right? Yep, take that. You work for Magnolia, right? Yep. Don't you get magazines? Yep. What do people need in their lobbies? Magazines. Great. Go to divorce attorneys, get to know the ladies in the office, and don't worry about talking to the attorneys right now. Just go consistently and show up. So she called me last month and she goes, you wouldn't believe, she texted me, she said, call me. You won't believe this. You have to call me back as soon as you can. I called her back. She goes, I have 3 people I'm working with right now that are referrals from divorce attorneys. Why? Because she consistently showed up, because she kept asking for the business. She kept showing them what services that she could provide their clients, how she would be a solution to them. So what of this list of business partners feels most aligned with who you are, your personality, and who you would feel comfortable going and consistently showing up for? Write that down. And it's going to be different for every one of you guys. You guys on Zoom, go through that list. What is one category of people, business partners that you want to align yourself with? Go deeper, learn more from. Maybe you do some video exchange program, educating the buyer on how both of you can help them. We'll talk about that in a little bit more too in just a minute. All right. There's some additional sources for you to consider. HR managers. Huge source of business. What could you offer their people? What knowledge do you have that would help their people? Local expertise, things to do in the community that's maybe family-friendly fun. Maybe you bring in a credit specialist that you partnered with. One of the biggest challenges right now, people are trying to figure out what bills to pay and what not to pay. Or if they get a medical collection, what do they do? So you could be an advocate for the HR managers. There is a meeting. They meet every other month in Denison at Texoma Workforce. It's a membership. All you have to do is pay to play. And you show up at their luncheons and you get to know the HR managers. I'm there every other month. And they're just a great source of referrals. Relocation companies. Gina happens to be in an office at Ebby where they have a contract with a lot of the relos. So that could be a whole specialty. How many of you guys have moved here in the last 3 years? That's what I thought. You know what the struggles are like, right? So if that's something you want to specialize in, you need to write down all of the things that you struggled with being new to this area. And how could you offer a solution to those moving to this area? Build yourself out a social media campaign around that, if that's what you want to specialize in. Heck, you don't even know where to go to get a haircut, do you? You have to ask around. City leaders. You guys right now, they're pretty busy and they know everything that's going on. Alexa will tell you right now that fire department's a good place to go if you want to know what's growing out where, because they got to have fire services for everybody.
And they have to plan 5 years in advance.
And they're planning 5 years in advance. So get to know your city leaders, including the chiefs of the fire
Yeah.
departments.
Go on, Sam. I mean it.
Hang on. Yeah. Bankers and credit unions. They need help. Sometimes they just need a BPO because they're in the middle, you know, someone's doing an investment transaction. And they don't need a full appraisal. They just need your broker opinion. But they're also a great referral source for you. And then you got listing agents and apartment complexes. How many of you guys are pot buy marketing to, if you like first time home buyers, you need to be doing pot buys by these apartment complexes and leasing management companies. A lot of our local leasing management companies are actually real estate offices, but apartment complexes, we've got a lot of them and a lot coming in. So what if you coordinated, especially those that are the HUD, the subsidized, what if you were providing pizza parties and doing a home buyer class or a credit class and you were bringing in specialists for that? It's a good way for you to get in with them. And yeah, you might go through 20 people before you find one that's actually qualified and ready to go right now. But then you have 20 people that you're working with for the next however many years it takes to help them get to a place where they qualify to buy a house. And with the good CRM that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, you got good lead management. All you got to do is stay in touch with people. And then HOA offices. We don't have that many HOAs in this area, but it's good to know all your HOA people. Number one, it'd be helpful in the middle of a transaction whenever you got to get some transfers done and it's taken a little bit too long. So anyway, what are some other lead sources that I didn't mention that you guys can think of? Yeah.
So my brother-in-law is like the CFO for Gracie Home Communications.
Uh-huh.
And he knows like on the outskirts where they're putting in,
Oh,
internet, fiber. and all those
yes.
things. So he knows about all that.
All of your utility, anybody in management in the utility industry, any of your utility industries is going to know what's going on and where. Which is a huge in, especially with all of the land that we have around here. I mean, you think that a piece of property is out in BFE and it's not going to have internet anytime soon, unless you know somebody who knows something. So just be thinking outside of the box. And where do you have some sources of business that all you have to do is put it on your calendar to be consistent and cultivate relationships, because it's those relationships that will turn to referrals. Yeah.
In our industry, a lot of us have realized that our friends and relatives may know we're in the business. They don't know how actively we're looking for clients. So if you memorize something along the lines of, Michelle, I've been friends with you for 15 years and you know I've been in Ameriprise for almost 8 months now. And I've never asked you for a referral for anything, and I'm not going to do that because it's just awkward. But I do want you to know that I am open for business. And if you think anybody that we can do this, great.
I love that. So you guys on the Zoom, friends and family, it's always kind of awkward. You don't want to solicit for, you don't go, you know, show up at a birthday party and start handing out business cards. That would kind of be rude and you might get kicked out, or at least talked about. Text about. That's always text about behind your back. But it's really important that those that are closest to you know that you really do want to help them in the event they make a decision to buy, sell, in Jeff's case, invest money. So having that seemingly awkward conversation could be lessened if you just said, hey, listen, Tracy, I know, you know, I've been doing mortgage loans for 30 years. And I don't just come out right out and say, hey, Tracy, will you send me a referral? But I would hope that you know that I would love to help anybody that you know that's thinking about buying or selling a house. Would you please just pass on my number if that happens?
And right now, everybody's talking about the market and asking questions and talking real
Mm.
estate. I mean, just being proud of what you do and what you know and having those conversations, you know, at the football games or at your PTA meeting. I mean, it's easier to bring it up these days. I feel like it's all anybody wants to talk about. So it's easier to bring up what you do and who you are and your knowledge about it these days. So everybody's interested in the market and what's going on. So be proud of what you do. Tell them about it.
24/7.
24/7. That's right.
24/7. Yep. Absolutely. Be your own billboard.
That's right.
Some of the other things that we didn't list, and Tracy said it, when you're involved in networking, we in our coaching program within Guild. What's 5?
Huh?
532.
Oh, 532. 5 hours on the call or prospecting each week.
5 hours prospecting
Prospecting.
every week. Put it on your calendar. If you're not prospecting, you're not growing. So 5 hours prospecting.
3 face-to-faces.
So 3 appointments where you're meeting with people, Zoom or in person, preferably in person.
a week, and then 2 events a week.
Attend 2 networking events of your choice, and it does not have to be business related. Just get out in the community. If you prospect and you don't allow perfection, paralysis, or procrastination keep you from being effective and efficient with your prospecting, 1 hour a day should be sufficient. But it needs to be the golden hour that's not disrupted by anything or anybody. So for me, I block off the end of the day because I want to try to reach people. So from 4:30 to 6 is my prospecting time. I don't go home until that's done. And my husband knows, I mean, I'll call him and let him know about whenever I should be done. And I am just vigilantly prospecting during that period of time. I also book my calendar in advance enough to know on Sundays, Sunday night, I look at my calendar and I make sure I have at least 3 face-to-faces. If I don't, I get them booked. Because I know I have to be in front of people. And then I always look to see, am I out and about doing a networking, a community event at least twice a week? So again, on Sundays, I'm looking at that going, okay, do I have those 2 events booked? If I don't, I get them booked. It's easy to find places to go. Go where you enjoy being. Because that smile on your face is the best billboard you have. And if you're with someone in a place that you like, that energy is going to transfer.
I mean, prospecting can be as simple as going to get a pedicure with your laptop open and, you know, telling people, you know, people are going to be interested in what you're doing and talking about real estate while you're getting a pedicure. I mean, letting people know what you do and where they're at, meet them where they are.
Prospecting.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. It doesn't have to be. Football games Friday. Chamber events. Your kids and grandkids school events.
Birthdays, getting in your CRM and calling people for their birthday. Making anniversary calls. Following up on somebody that just moved in 30 days ago and seeing how they're doing. And then just remember that you're in the referral business and people will not refer you unless you remind them, hey, listen, the market's a little cattywampus right now. So if you have anybody that's asking any questions on home improvements they're about to do to their home, they don't know how much it's going to add to the value of their home, have them call me. I'll go over that with them.
I think anniversary calls is one of the biggest things you can do.
Y'all know what we're talking about, anniversary calls?
It's the most biggest impact, I think.
So let's just say, okay, Heather bought a house a year ago today. Then I would call her and have a conversation with her, check in, see how the family is doing. How's work going? Do you have anything new and different that you're doing? Anything you're excited about? Something I need to tell people about because I like connecting people. How's the house? Just go over that, all of those, just have a good quality conversation, reconnecting with them. Those anniversary calls are super important. For us on our side, we're also looking, and if you guys have home bought with us, well, with anybody, but we have it available to you. Then you would even go into your home bot and you would then look at the terms of their loan and say, hey, I'm looking at your home bot. Are you guys enjoying it? Do you look at it every so often to see how your equity is growing in your home? I noticed that it looks like the value is off just a little bit. I'm going to go in here and fine tune it based on what I know. I'll run some comps and see where it's at and update that for you so you can feel confident that I'm keeping an eye on it and it's accurate. By the way, the interest rate that you've paid right now, I mean, a year ago is better than what rates are right now. So you're in good shape. But if the market shifts and changes, I'll let you know about it. And then you can reach back out to the mortgage company that did your loan, or I can put you in contact with someone else. Having those conversations and letting them know that they made a good, smart financial decision whenever they purchase their home is really important. And those are really easy on those anniversary calls. So if you do not have a birthday program and an anniversary program with your past customers, get one.
And it puts you up, front of mind again. So if they're having dinner with their neighbors that night, they'll be like, I got the sweetest call today. Like, and then they'll tell them about you.
Yep. We'll talk about more. So you guys, I mean, we're going to go deep into social media. Open houses is a great referral. I mean, business builder. And I've got some fabulous ideas on how to 10X those. If anybody is interested, let's get together. Website. I read a stat last night, like I put it in our thing. No, I didn't. I didn't put it in our thing. I put it in another one. You need a video on your website because websites with videos are like 60% more likely to be opened than a competitor without, than a competitor without a video. But website, CRM marketing, your digital marketing, all of that stuff is also lead generation, I guess. But your best is your Tuesday updates. How many of you guys have done real estate transactions with us? With Guild? Anybody at Guild? More of you guys have in this room. On Tuesdays, you get an update. You know exactly what's going on with the loan because we're going to give you an update, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and the customer, right? Those updates, if you wait on those updates to call and give your updates, then you have everything that you need to have for a good quality conversation with your seller or your buyer, right? But your goal is to fish for a compliment also when you do that, because the real goal is to update them on the status, keeps them from calling you to check the status of any transaction, because even if it's just a listing, if they knew every Tuesday, when you got the listing, you said every Tuesday, I'm going to send you information about what's going on in the market, what kind of showings we've had, what kind of interest we've had, and what my suggestions are to get it sold. Every Tuesday, you're going to get that from me, and then I'm going to call you and we'll go over it. Your whole goal, number one, minimize the phone calls and the panic. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's looked at my house this week, or we've had 5 people look at the house and I don't know if anybody's interested. What's the feedback? Stops that. And then gives you an opportunity to fish for compliments, because client to client referrals are the best, right? They know you, like you, trust you, and they're excited. So it's really easy for you to say, are we doing a great job? We, as the entire team, title company, inspector, appraiser, surveyor, lender, insurance, that is your team. Are we doing a great job? Do you have any questions I can help you with? It's going smoothly. Or no, you've answered everything. Your goal is to fish for a compliment. So you can say, fabulous. I'm glad to hear you're happy with my services or our services. My business is built on referrals. I'm sure people you work with or friends you're talking to know you're buying a house, because you're probably driving them crazy talking about it. Don't say that part. Is there anyone else you've heard who might be thinking about moving to, or just have a question about the real estate market? I'm happy to answer or explain. Easy, right? Y'all can all do that, right? Those are those Tuesday updates. A script for financial advisors. If you ask all of your clients, who are you using right now as your financial advisor? Most people have had a 401k at some point in time in their life that they rolled over, and they probably picked someone real quickly, and they don't even know who their financial advisor really is. It's just a name on a statement, right? They might need someone a little more personal to take good care of them, to review everything with them. So it's really easy to have that conversation. Who do you have as your financial advisor? I like to build my network of professionals. So ask people who they use as their financial advisor. They may or may not have a name for you, but it's building your network. And referrals is how we all make a living. So if you can find that information out, then call the financial advisor and get to know them. If they don't have a financial advisor, now you have a network. You've got Jeff. That part is really big, important, that you're building your Rolodex and your network. Builders. A lot of our builders won't put, especially our onesie-twosie builders, they will not put their houses in the MLS. But can you sell their houses? Call them. What have they got on the ground? Where are they looking to develop and build? By the way, we do construction loans now, and we can help developers build out these big 10, $15 million projects where our banks are capped in this area. So keep us in mind whenever you got developers now. But asking them those questions, builders are a great place for you to get referrals. If nothing else, it gives you inventory to sell. But if you're constantly following up with these builders because you put them in a CRM and you have a schedule of when you're going to be calling them, they're not going to forget you. And then lenders, you guys, it's amazing how many people come to us that aren't referred by a realtor. 55% of my business is not referred by a realtor. They're people I've already done business with in the past, and some of the realtors are no longer in business. So your lenders, you got loan officers and lenders all over the place.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah.
We have a question. It says, it was from Carla. She said, how do you feel about your website linking directly to Linktree, linking to videos of home tours, and links to ways to contact me instead of creating a complicated website?
I think Linktree is great for social media. I think, you know what, Carmen, Google, was that Carmen you said?
No, Carla.
Carla. Oh, hey, Carla. Google yourself and see if those videos show up. That's the best way to test what you're doing. Just Google yourself. If you've Googled yourself quite a bit lately, have someone else Google, because you might be it'll be cookied. So to get an unbiased assessment of what is and isn't showing up, you need somebody else to Google you. Because if you keep going to your website from your cell phone, it's obviously going to show you the best of your most recent stuff. So Carla, just get somebody to Google. It's the least maintenance way of doing your video, linking all of that together, and least expensive. So if that works, that's a good workaround.
That was it's the least expensive.
May I make a suggestion?
Oh yeah, that's right. The experts on the call. Yes, for sure.
Thank you, but anyway. I don't think that will help your SEO very much, because Google is not going to follow that link. It's going to see that as a blank page. So I think a simple website that has pages for each of those things that you want to do, a brief paragraph explaining what that page is about, and then adding the link might be a better solution for you.
So like a WordPress?
Yes, it doesn't have to be a real complicated website.
Okay.
You can get complicated, but you can do phone jobs for your MLS listings and all that stuff. But if you just want to introduce yourself to new people, then just a real simple website, free on WordPress, would probably serve you a little better.
So and we'll cover that more in marketing, but while we're on that subject, don't get complicated. If you're gonna do a website, Carla, don't get complicated on your name because you want it to be searched by your name if at all possible. So, I mean, if Carla Davis, which might be hard since you and I have common names, it's a little bit harder to find our names. But don't you think, BJ?
Absolutely. People are gonna search for Carla Davis because
For
somebody
you.
said Carla's a great agent. So if your website has got super real estate agent, they're not gonna find you because it doesn't identify you as Carla Davis, and that's what they're gonna search for.
Mhm.
So help Google out a little bit.
Make it easy.
Carla Davis Realtor.info.com.
You know, stuff I've noticed about realtors is if you were just to Google you, it's hard to find all of your contact info. Like I can maybe get a phone number or a website, but I can't get an email address. You know, like it's really hard to find your contact info.
Mhm.
And you want people to be able to contact you however they're comfortable so that
Which
they
is
can- yeah.
which is why that WordPress,
Yeah.
like what BJ's talking about, and this really ties to what we're talking about, because if Gina says, hey, call Michelle Castle about the money part so that I can get you ready to buy a house. And Gina, for some reason, either doesn't share the contact information or whatever, and someone goes to Google to try to find me, I need to be easily found with all my contact information. Oftentimes we try to find you guys because maybe we got a contract and we have a name, but we don't have all of the information we need. And we go online to try to find y'all's contact information, and we can find your name, we can find your phone number, but your email address maybe is like, you have to click this button to get. So a WordPress website, simple page website with who I am, who I serve, how to contact me, would allow people to be able to find you in the event that someone says, hey, just call Heather because Heather's going to help you with anything real estate. They'll be able to search, find her, have all contact information all on one screen. Because the assumption that people know how to find you is false. Unless someone shares contact, they have to rely on Google. Facebook, you used to be able to go to Facebook and get people's contact information, and for privacy reason, you can't anymore. So unless you're really good at Messenger, they can't go to Facebook or Instagram to message you either. So while you're building a referral-based business, you've got to make it easy for people to find you when they're referred. Does that make sense? So y'all be writing that down and thinking too, how easy am I to find? And the best way to do that is to tell one of your kids or your grandkids or somebody that you don't, you know, that doesn't, not in your profession, hey, find me on the internet. See if you can get my address, my phone number and my email address easily.
Bonus points for the social security number.
Yeah. Yeah, bonus point for social security number. No, don't do that. Okay, marketing to pillars of business. So you know where you're going to go get business from. And really, this is in reverse. Really, I think you need to be thinking, who do I like to work with? What type of clients are my favorite clients? When you look back on your last transactions that you have closed, or maybe that you've even worked with these buyers, who were your favorites? Huh? Sellers? First-time home buyers? Anybody else have a favorite? How many of you guys like commercial? No. All right. How about your move-up buyers? Personally, I like the move-up buyers because I get an opportunity to show them smarter ways of using their cash that they're about to get. Instead of dumping it all into the house, how can we look at this differently, please? So those are my favorite people. My team prefers to work with first-time home buyers. They really like the credit challenged, very little money, high debt to income, and trying to fit those puzzle pieces together. Everybody's got, what's your favorite?
First time home buyers.
First time home buyers.
I feel like
Brandy,
it's the
what's your
most
favorite?
rewarding.
Mine would be first time.
See, everybody's got their favorite. So if you're wanting to work with more first-time home buyers, where are you going to go? We just went through a bunch of sources of business. Where are you going to go for first-time home buyer business?
Apartment.
Apartments. HR managers, that might be a good one too. Because the people that would show up if you brought lunch in and had a little get together are probably people that are newer to the idea of balancing a budget, financial tips, credit help, right? It's easier to get them to show up. Someone who already owns a home, unless they're ready to sell their home at the moment, isn't likely to show up. And it's not that fun talking about what to do with equity when you're not ready to do anything with it. So think about, yeah, another area that Brandy is new to getting into more is construction, new construction, because we have a way to help people build houses. She's got banking background. She understands construction loans. She understands builders. She understands all of the paperwork that builders have to have. She also understands how hard it is to get paperwork from builders. And so that's a good source of business, and we need inventory around here. So where would she go for business? Where would she go for referrals for new construction? Builders and bankers too, because we got to know what bankers are allowed or able to do, so we can partner with them. Sometimes we're the solution, sometimes they're the solution. But if we don't know what our competitor has to offer, how can we be solutions for each other? So be thinking, who do I want to work with and where do I go for business? Yeah.
Anybody who can buy a house with somebody I'd love to have a conversation with. Prices blessed me with the ability to spend money to get in front of those people. So if anybody's got any sort of marketing event, 5 to 20 people that are first-time home buyers or move up or move down buyers, any of that. If you can set up the event and give me a week or so to convince my boss that it's good money spent, I can bring pizza or sandwiches or finger food.
Love it.
Mocktails or whatever we want to do that fits the theme of it all. And just, I require a few minutes of my time and presence, and that's about it.
I love it. So Jeff and Ameriprise is offering his marketing budget to you if you've got an opportunity for you and him to get in front of 15 to 20 people. He'll provide some food. You guys think about it. These baseball games, like, would the city let you set up a table? I don't know. Has anybody ever asked them? I mean, on Saturday mornings, there's a lot of parents coming and going in front of that concession stand. Can you set up a table? Can you set up a booth? I don't know. But if you're all into first-time home buyers, that might be a good place to go. So be thinking, who do I like to work with? Where are they? How do I reach them? And what partners do I need to have in order to provide a full service experience, right? All right. But you got to understand, where do they live? What are they doing? Where do they want to live? Why would they want to make that move? What are their occupations? What do they do for fun? Raise kids, if they're first-time homebuyers. What's their household income? All of this stuff you can search. You need to get a full profile of who am I serving? Who am I serving? What problems do they have? What solutions do I offer? Where do I find them? If you understand those things, then instead of just a shotgun approach, standing on the corner with the big billboard that says, I'm a realtor, do you want to buy a house? You're being very targeted about who you're doing business with, and it's a lot more fun. Is that starting? Are you guys like thinking? Has this got your wheels turning a little bit? You guys on Zoom, are your wheels turning a little bit?
They are.
Good. So I'm going to share. Carly, can I share your story real quick?
Yes, sure.
So Carla started Ladies of Texoma. It was a group that she started. How many years ago was that?
I started it about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. It didn't
What
take
if-
off until about 2 years ago.
Okay. Hey, why don't you share the story? For anybody that needs to leave and isn't going into leave management, you're welcome to leave. We're going to wrap it up with this story because this is, we'll slide through the rest of these real quick. But the version of the story that I want you to tell, because there's always multiple versions of a story, right? How, number one, consistency. Number two, I mean, for you, I think it was confidence built over time and then making some adjustments in how you were marketing. But you wanted to do it, you wanted to be of service
Yes.
and weren't all about the sales, but you wanted to surround yourself with like-minded women and build a referral network from there that didn't necessarily just benefit you.
Exactly. I started this thinking that I could kind of redo a coffee that I used to do in another town in another lifetime. And when I started it, I was like, well, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to ask everybody to go to lunch with me. And that's how I started it. And that just didn't work out. It wasn't the right time. I wasn't approaching it the right way. So when I did it this time, it was the encouragement of Michelle and Yvette. And I just started going to coffee shops around town, around Sherman and Denison. And we were popping back and forth. And then I decided it was probably not the best way. So I picked one. I picked the White Rabbit Coffee House, and we have ladies' coffee. It's called No Agenda Coffee every Thursday from 8 to 10. I'm very intentional about no agenda. Nobody can, I mean, I just don't want it to be about business. Sometimes it turns into that, but that's not the plan. And it just kind of, we're there every single Thursday. Last Thursday was the first Thursday that I left an hour early. And ironically enough, next Thursday, I will not be there because I'm on vacation. It'll be the first time I've missed since I started it. And that consistency is a big deal. And they know that I'm going to be there every Thursday from 8 to 10. And I have not one time sat there by myself. I've always had someone show up. Sometimes we have 10, 12 people. It's never huge. Like I said, 10, 12 people is a lot. But everybody's there and they just really enjoy it. And they want to come back and they bring their friends. And it's just a great way to do things. And I am seeing a lot of business that I'm getting, and other realtors that are coming to No Agenda Coffee are getting business as well.
It's just being seen. It's being with people that are growth minded, that are just their hearts open, and just being part of the community and creating its own little sub community. So I challenge you guys to really think, who do I like to be around, and how can I be of more service with an open heart and serve those people? Yeah. White Rabbit in Sherman on the square. Yeah, upstairs. Yeah. Heather, you don't want to share your story, do you? You come on up here.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Come on,
I
Heather,
can do
you've got great stories.
Heather's got a great story. And the reason that I want to wrap it up with this, hey, CRM, become a powerhouse. I know you're using it. Next level it. Okay. The reason I want to share this story is because I just can't stress the importance enough of being yourself, being confident in who you are, because that in itself will attract business. When you're confident and sure about who you are and how you can serve others, then understanding what their struggles are and how you can provide a solution or a resource that could provide a solution, business becomes a lot easier and a lot more fun. And so Heather and I met a year ago. We had started was it 6 weeks that we got together? It was a 6 weeks meetup in a tea room. So it was, we had tea and we had all of our fun tea, desserts, breakfast. And it was called Passion to Profits because Yvette at Paragon and I are very passionate about be you. Just be bolder and be you. And so we really wanted to help everybody see themselves as we see them and find what their unique gifts are, or help them discover what their unique gifts are, because it's who you are. But so many times we just get so busy, and then you guys, we're so wrapped up in the business that sometimes we forget to have fun doing business. So we really wanted to help everybody just like decompress, peel off all of the layers, and just really get down to being clear with who you are and what your superpower is, and help people step into that superpower. So Heather was in that, and I still, it's still, even after the 6 weeks of Passion to Profits, well, you're just another example of how it's just taken some time to really figure that out, but it started the whole thought process of working through that. And so it's been beautiful to watch Heather step into her superpower and understanding that she has a unique way of looking at homes that others without disabled children would not know how to look at a home. For children with autism, homes with children with physical disabilities. If I were to look through the home, I wouldn't see the dangers that she sees. So that's a gift to people who are raising a child, adult or a child, with challenges, or has even a parent that now is moving into the home. So if you are taking on the responsibility of helping your parents, you're seeing a home differently than I would see a home. And that's a service that you can offer that others can't. So identifying who it is that you want to do business with, who you can be aligned with in business, you just have to think outside of yourself and see yourself how others see you to really figure that out. So come up here and kind of explain what you're doing now, just through you're marketing yourself differently. You're thinking differently about how you do business.
My husband and I raised our grandson. We've had him since birth. And he was diagnosed as a level 3 autistic nonverbal. And when he was 3 years old, we got him into speech therapy. And because I was an at-home parent, I was able to implement all the therapies that they were doing, I was able to do throughout the entire week. He now is 6 years old, who reads. He reads better than high schoolers. And he's just an amazing kid. So he still has issues. So when I'm looking at houses, when I do open houses or just go look at houses, my mind looks at, if he was to get out, how quickly is he going to get into a busy road? Or, am I going to be able to catch him before he gets into, So I market myself where I have a perspective for parents who have kids with either autism or just special needs in general, that I can go in and say, okay, I'm not showing this to my client because this is not going to work for them. It's also with Yvette and Michelle. I have now started the process of making Kyler's journey into a 501c3 nonprofit. So it hopefully my goal is that I will be able to help other parents, because I homeschool him because I'm not sending him to a public school. And so I want him to be able to socialize with kids, but Kyler does not like wearing shirts, and that's a problem for some people. So I want him to be able to socialize with people that don't care that he's not wearing a shirt. They're not going to take an offense to it because, you know, he's not doing it to be anything other than himself. And I try to, as much as I can, let him do that. So if you see me in Walmart with a little boy with no shirt, that's not me being a bad parent. It's just, that's where he's more comfortable. So my overall goal too is to rescue dogs and be able to have them trained for autism dogs, because looking into that for my baby, I don't have an extra $20,000 to $50,000 hanging around to go buy a dog. So I want to be able to do two things, which is to rescue dogs, but also to provide them to families who, you know, cannot afford 20 grand for a dog. So that's, I am using my platform as a realtor to help promote that. So
That's beautiful.
Yay. Thank you. I know you're getting uncomfortable. I mean, you're getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I appreciate that because I know that that's not easy. Once we get close enough, I like to encourage, sometimes lightly push you guys outside of your comfort zone to get to where you want to be, because that's how we grow. One other opportunity, looking at Danny on the screen, reminded me, he's wanted to do reverse mortgages and help those look at being able to afford to stay in their home longer instead of being pushed because they need the equity of their home to go do something else. And now they're out of their home. I mean, someone who has been in their home for 10, 15, 20 years, if they were to sell their house and buy another home, could they afford the payment on that new home? Even if it was just taxes and insurance, it makes it a struggle because taxes are so much more now. And the taxes are, anyway. So again, that's another, okay, here's who I want to serve. What are their pain points? How can I provide solutions and create a network of resources to help them? How do I educate them? Where do I go to find them, and how do I reach them? How do I attract them? And so we put a plan in place to help reverse engineer that whole prospecting, because now he knows how he wants to do business. Now it's a matter of getting the leads, getting the referrals, or people knowing what he does specialize in. So we can't all specialize and only do the transactions that we're specialized in, but we can promote ourselves as specialists, knowing that you can help anybody and everybody if you choose to. It's just a way to help you stand out in a crowd, and you guys are in a very crowded industry. Yes, Jeff.
Feel free to tell me to shut up if I take too much.
No, you're fine.
The Master Networks chapter in Sherman is official, and they're not yet a realtor. They're about to let it go.
Oh.
Chapter Master Network wide that you can join in Sherman. Every Master Network group that is active has a realtor seat, so it's obviously something realtors see value in. So if anybody might be interested in that at all, nothing up front, it's $300 to join and $75 a month after that. There's ways of getting your money back, all sorts of ways of getting your money back if you're active in it. So if anybody's interested in that, they can contact me as well, but it needs to be done through.
So Masters Network has a seat available in Sherman for realtors. And I think usually y'all do a commercial realtor and a residential, right?
They've even split it up to residential versus
land and ranch land, or
farm
yeah.
land.
Yeah, so if you specialize in the field as a realtor, or you just want to be a residential commercial realtor at Masters Network in Sherman, there is a seat available. You guys, anytime you're any of those referral network, Master Networks is great for education, for growth-minded education, and they are also great at passing referrals out. So if you're looking for a structure around referrals, that's another good option for you guys. All right. I think that I've covered everything, even though there's some additional slides. I think I've covered everything on the lead generation. We're going to talk about the follow-up, the management of all of these referrals. But just want to remind you, if you are not already in our Facebook group, please scan this QR code real quick and get in that group, because in the your realtor group for growth, I not just post about education opportunities, but loan programs and just thought promotion and all of that good stuff is in there. So go ahead and scan that real quick before I move to the next slide. And then we're going to go into lead management.
Hey, Michelle,
Yeah.
real quick. Carol stated that she couldn't hear what Jeff said earlier.
About Masters Network.
I went to the restroom, so I missed. I'm not sure.
What did you say, Jeff, before? I rephrased everything that he said, so she didn't miss it. I mean, she may not have heard him, but I rephrased it.
Great, thanks.
I'll get it. Okay. All right. Oops, I told y'all wrong. That goes to the Eventbrite link. Scan this one. I'm so sorry. Let me move this so that the QR code will come over right. There you go. Scan that one for the Facebook group. It's not coming up.
Sorry.
Well, if you need to do that, everybody else does too, then, to make it come up.
There we go, I got it.
Okay. All right. I got it. Oh, Jim's getting it. Jim is getting all techie in here. All righty. And then I didn't give y'all the QR code for this one. I'll get y'all that one next time. All right, we are going to go into lead management. So on Zoom, I'm going to unshare, and I want you guys to use your little hand and raise your hand if you are using a CRM. Lead management. All right. Hey, Caitlin. Just two of you guys. Oh, no. Maria, is that how you, Maria, I said that right? Okay, so a couple of you guys. It does not matter which CRM you're using. What matters is that you're using the CRM. The purpose of them is to make sure nobody gets forgotten, basically. And that most of your CRMs have got some automation built into them as well. So how many of you guys just leave it at those that you are using CRM, how many of you use the automation just as it was programmed versus customizing? Danny, have you gone in and customized your drip campaigns and stuff?
Not in entirety. I need to work on mine more diligently.
Okay. If you guys, you know, one of the best, we'll go over that in just a few minutes, the best way to test that. Let me share our slides. I did want to.
I kind of do a cross section between my CRM and the MLS on campaigns for listings, new listings. So I kind of meld them together.
What's important is that you know what's going out. You know what's going out, when it's going out, how often it's going out, who it's going to. So that's the whole. You guys just saw. I don't know how many people are on Zoom. I think there's 20 people on Zoom. So there's about 30 of us total, and y'all saw how many people are using their CRMs consistently. So my question is, Most of the time, if somebody finds you online and they were referred to you and then they were referred to another real estate agent, if you're the one who is consistently following up with them and the other person they reached out to does not have a system for good, solid, consistent follow-up, who are they going to remember? Exactly. The consistency in the follow-up is really important. For years and years and years, I used to just use a notepad. So like if Danny were to call me today and he'd say, hey, Joe Bob is going to call you tomorrow. They're wanting to go look at houses this weekend. I would write, the information, and I'd be looking out for that call, right? And then this is also my list of all of the things I'm doing today. So I would just have this list of all of these things. Well, what happens when I get to the bottom of the page? I flip to the next page. Do I rewrite everything that I didn't mark off and highlight on this page whenever I flip to the next page? What if someone tells me, Jim says, I run across him at the ball fields and Jim goes, hey, my cousin Susie is going to be calling you next week. They're wanting to go look at houses whenever they come to town. They're thinking about moving here. I don't have a notepad with me, do I? Am I going to remember that? No. Did I get any contact information? No. What are my chances of actually following through with that one? No, zero, because I don't even have any information to follow up with. So when we changed our business to using our CRM, in the very beginning, it was an Excel spreadsheet. Is that a CRM? Yes, because it's a customer management retention, customer retention management. I mean, I'm saying that wrong. So a spreadsheet can be a customer retention management system. We would put all of the information into the Excel spreadsheet, and we ended up with a really fancy Excel spreadsheet. I mean, it was color coded. It would sort, we would sort it all of these different ways. We had tabs. Each month had its own tab. But the problem is, if I was looking for someone and I remember, oh my gosh, I forgot to call Jim's cousin. What month was that we were talking? And I'd have to go through each one of the months and I'd have to sort. And if I didn't remember the name, that didn't work out real well for us either. Fortunately, Guild adopted Salesforce or purchased Salesforce and built Salesforce out for us. Now, it doesn't matter where we are. I could be in front of my laptop, or I have this thing with me everywhere I go, and my CRM is on my phone. So if you ask me about a referral or you give me somebody that you would like for me to reach out to, all their information goes right here in the system. And every conversation I've ever had with them, every email, every text message is all synced up in there. And I can see everything that has ever gone out to them through our drip campaign or that we have manually sent out. It's all right there. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that, but I want to challenge you all to go back to your offices and figure out what CRM system you're going to use. It could be an Excel spreadsheet. Start there, but you need it for lead capturing. CRM systems will have scheduling in there. So like on Mondays, I get a list of everybody's got a birthday for the week. Your CRM would do that for you too. I get a list of everybody that's got an anniversary this week. Your CRM would do that too. It could have been 5 years ago today that someone bought a house and they're going to be on that list. You also, it's got scheduled correspondence on your behalf. So for us, and I'll show you in a little bit more detail in just a few minutes what that scheduling looks like. If you're going to partner with someone who has a CRM, you really need to look and see what correspondence is going out from that person. So if you're going to customize or send something out, maybe it's good if you're talking about the same things, but in a different tone, because I could be talking about credit one way and you could be talking about credit a different way, but it all matters if someone's prepping to buy, right? So if we sync up our conversation, then it makes that flow even better and we can reinforce what each other are saying. The contact information is all right there. The email marketing that goes out on your behalf, the mail merge part of it, it's automatic, it's there. And then you've got all of the automation, and then the analytics. I know I could run a report, I can click a button and I can see when I sent this email out, how many people, a marketing email, how many people actually opened it? How many of them clicked any of the links on it? So I know how I want to tweak and change that communication. It may not have been effective. Well, why wasn't it? Yeah.
So
Come up here though.
Michelle had talked about, like, at the end, one of the last classes she's going to do is the business planning. So when you have a CRM and the measurements of your year and your leads and your where they came from and what you closed this year, that helps your planning for the next year tremendously. And it makes you feel good. You want to see what you've done and what marketing you've done over the year that's worked and what hasn't worked. All of that makes your business better.
Absolutely. Because you guys spend a lot of money. Marketing. How do you know if it works if you're not measuring it? How do you know it? Your time is the most valuable asset you have. How do you know if it's working? If you're not tracking it, you don't know. Like if you do a bunch of open houses and you know that you're spending 4 hours a weekend on open houses, you need to know how many referrals did I get from open houses, and work the heck out of those referrals for more referrals so you can double those referrals. You can walk the neighborhood and get more referrals from the sellers in the neighborhoods, or at least get more people to put into your CRM. But if you're not measuring that, you don't know, is it worth my time? Is it worth my money? So a CRM is a great way to track that. We did some festivals last fall just to test it out. And you know, at those festivals, how you'll have the giveaways if people will leave their information. And so we just wanted to see, you know, if we get 50 names, how many of those actually over time end up being a funded transaction? And we still have some people we're working and helping their credit now that was from fall. But out of the 3 festivals we went to, and out of all of the names that we collected, I think we've only had 1 funded transaction, and a couple of people we're still working on. Then the question is, all right, it's that time of year again. Is it worth it? Because it costs money for the booth rental. It costs money for gadgets to give away, and it costs your time. Is it worth it? You don't know if you're not tracking it. All you know is what it's just an emotional decision at that point. So the business planning piece of this really matters, which is why we're leading up to that after we go through the next couple of weeks. So when you have a CRM, then you've got, I always think of it as fishing holes. Like I know I know where to go for my fishing hole on current customers. Who are we currently working with? Who were they referred by? Is there an opportunity to develop a relationship with the person that referred them? And then that current client is also an opportunity for another referral, because I know, like, and trust you, and they're excited about buying a house or selling a house at the moment. So if you decided on Mondays, my 5 hours of prospecting, right? You're going to prospect for 5 hours. So you decide on Mondays is the day I'm going to talk to my current customers. If you're going to do Tuesday updates, you're going to flip flop that. And so Monday would be your past customers. So your Monday would be your anniversary calls. It would be your birthday calls and just check-ins in general. If you're on HomeBot, you would also click on the HomeBot activity report and see who's been looking at what. We're going to talk about that in one of these weeks too. Who's been looking at what? Then you know who you're going to be reaching out to. That would be your Monday. Tuesday would be current customers, because you're going to do your Tuesday updates. That would be active sellers, buyers. That'd be the time that you guys, another referral source we didn't even talk about is your escrow officers. If you do a killer job as a real estate agent, when those escrow officers know somebody that is looking at listing their land or they're selling their house and they don't know when they're going to buy again, but they know they're going to buy, but they did a FSBO on the sale of their home, they need a contact for them to be reaching out to. So on your Tuesday update calls, you be sure you're becoming best friends with the escrow officers. Wednesdays could be your favorite people, your top customers, could be your top favorite friends and family also. Wednesdays, you're going to call business partners, anybody that is in the business that you've been working with that you trust to help you get a transaction done. Build relationships with them, reach out to them, make sure that they're not dying of a heat exhaustion. Bring them some water if they're a surveyor or an appraiser or an inspector. And then your top referral partners. Top referral partners really need to be your builder sales reps right now. They only sell homes that they have built. And they got people that are selling homes and they need real estate agents. All right. So what information do you need? Each CRM is different. Ours recently changed where we have to have name and phone number or name and email address instead of all three pieces of information. But everybody's CRM is different. Know what you need. It's really important to us that we have a mailing address because I can't send them a card. I can't mail them anything if I don't have a mailing address. But the most important is a referral source, because when you're building out your business plan, whenever you're looking, I mean, how rude if someone referred business to you. And if you don't feel like we appreciate your referrals, please let me know, because that is a really big deal for us. We want to know we want to thank our referral sources and update them. Same thing for you. And it also is something that you need to be measuring. Who am I doing business with? It's funny whenever you look at the end of the year where your business comes from, sometimes you end up with business from places that you didn't even realize you were getting business from because it was just like no maintenance. They were just sending your business, didn't expect anything in return, that you were just the trusted person whenever it came to real estate. And then price range. Now, one thing that is that is just extra and nice for you to go ahead and put in your system, and what we would even have on our Excel spreadsheet is what they're looking for, not just in price range, but go ahead and put hobbies and interest on there. You guys, we have a golf tournament coming up, right? GTAR, we have our trek. No, it's community service, supporting the veterans. What if we need a golf player at the last minute? And it's a free spot. If you had a CRM and you had people's interest in there, you could pull a report and go, I forgot. I just sold a house to a guy down the street the other day, and I know he had several sets of golf clubs, and he's talking about all these places around the world he's played. Maybe he's interested in a free golfing spot. You don't know that if you're not keeping track of that stuff because it's hard to remember it all. And then those tasks. So we have automation built in ours, but what you're going to want to do is be sure that you're setting extra tasks in there, because I could have had a conversation with Alexa today and my system would tell me to follow up with her in 3 days if she hadn't completed an application, or she would show up on a 7-day report if we've pre-approved or pre-qualified her, just to stay in contact with her. But maybe she told me, hey, you know what? My grandmother just passed away and I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be out of town for a little bit. I'm going to help my mom get things taken care of. So it's going to be, I'm postponing this a month. Well, if I don't set a task to follow back up with her, number one, I would set a task to remind myself to send her a card. But then I would set a task to follow up with her in a month. So whenever she shows up on the report, to call her in 3 days because I don't have an application yet, instead of bothering her when she's in the middle of this, I have a task. So I don't have to remember when to follow back up with her because I set a task to reach back out to her in a month. So those tasks are really important even when you have automation set up. And then it gives you an opportunity on those tasks to even put some notes in there. So when you do follow up, you know what you're talking about. I mean, I may talk to several people between now and a month, And so I want to remember the details of our conversation. So when I do call Alexa in a month, I can pick up where we left off instead of her feeling like I'm not keeping up with her. Understanding what your lead flows are really important. It does not have to be this complicated. It could be a piece of paper that you write there, go, referral received. You do what? When are you going to reach out to that person? All right. When you do, did they answer? Then you do what? If they don't, then you do what? Because following up and staying in touch with people is the most important part of your job. It's second to prospecting. So prospecting and following up with prospects. So it doesn't have to be this colorful and pretty, but pencil it out and make sure your CRM is doing those things for you. If it's got automation already built in it, look and see what that automation is, and then you can backfill where you need to be. Carol, I know you didn't raise your hand earlier and I didn't see your hand go up, but I know you work your CRM religiously. Do you go in and do you change up your automation, or do you just let it go like it is? I think she customizes her. I can pretty much answer for her. So look at those. In the very beginning, your goal is just to sign in, remember your logins, and enter every referral in the system. And every time you enter one into the system, set a task for the next time you're going to follow up with them. If that's all you do, you are better than 90% of the real estate agents right now, because they're not working their CRMs either. So if that's all you do is adopt a CRM, remember your username and your password, and enter every referral into the system, and set a task for the next time that you're going to follow up with them. And then the next thing you need to do is go in there and put all of your all of the people you've worked with in the past into the system, and try to find their birthdays. Find it on Facebook, and you backfill that. And you go ahead and put the date that they bought their house. If you just do those things, then you will start a really good follow-up system using your CRM. And you can get fancy from there. So there's just some schedules on these slides that you're going to receive that show you how to consistently be in front, top of mind with your people. The other people that go into your CRMs is go ahead and put friends and family in there. You can opt them out of the drip campaigns if you don't want them to receive your drip campaigns, and just set tasks in there. But how much easier would it be to keep up with families' birthdays if it was at the same place that you're trying to keep up with your customer birthdays? Y'all, guilty admission, I forgot a couple of family birthdays recently. 2 son-in-laws, and I had a granddaughter's birthday slip up on me. I keep up with my customers' birthdays better than I do my family's. Why? Because I'm trained to look at that, my customers' birthdays. I have a system in place for that. So my brain trusts the system instead of trying to keep up with all of this information. So go ahead and put your friends and family in there. Opt them out of the marketing campaigns if you want to, but you can set tasks in there, or you can put their birthdays in there so they show up on a birthday list and you don't forget anybody. It doesn't just have to be customers, because it's just a great reminder to stay in front of people, because our business is a relationship referral-based business. We're going to talk about HomeBot as a great way to stay in front of people with the one thing that they care most about, besides their own family: the equity growing in their home, how much their home is worth, and staying in front of them that way. There's a phrase that we used to use often in a previous coaching program I was in. It was called letters of the heart, letters from the heart. People do business with you as a person. They care about the things that you care about, or they resonate with the things that you care about anyway. They may not care about it, but it still resonates with them. So when you share more about yourself, they're choosing to do business with you and not you as a commodity, you as a heart person. And so sharing more about yourself is a great way for you to build a referral-based business. And one way that they suggested you do that was to write a letter to your customers, quarterly at minimum, monthly at most, just sharing what's going on. I care about my community, and I like to share what's going on in my community. And I have a lot of kids and grandkids, they're all in this area. So most of the fun that I have is either a nonprofit fundraiser event that I'm attending or a family-friendly event. So those are the things that I would typically share. If anything was going on in my life, people, you know, I would share just a little bit about myself, not woe is me, but more of a, hey, this is interesting and this is what's going on right with my life. And then an update on what's going on in the market. I've shifted that where I'm doing a video to my database once a month through HomeBot because open rate is 85%, 85 to 90%. And so I'm meeting people where they are. Well, HomeBot is the one thing that they open every single month to see what the value of their home is, how their equity is building, and what any financial opportunities they should take advantage of. So I send the videos that way. So I do my letter of the heart video through HomeBot. I share all that with you because that matters. A video, if you're not going to do a letter, a video, keeping it under 2 minutes. So 1 minute and 59 seconds is typically under 2 minutes, right? And share what's going on in your life, share what's important to you, share what's going on in the market. Keep it under 2 minutes. So people are still, you're front and center. They know who you are and why they would choose to do business with you. And it's just an easy way of doing that. Most of your CRMs will allow you to do videos within your CRM as well. BombBomb Video is a good app that you can use for that. So BombBomb, B-O-M-B, B-O-M-B. But you can use those in your emails. You can send out to lists, like you can upload lists into BombBomb to send them out. You could create videos for the whole loan process. I mean, the whole home buying process, and explain it to them in an email and have a video that shows them. You could even screen record how to sign the contract if you wanted, you know, instructional videos. It's a great way to really up your game in terms of video communication. So whether it's Guild Mortgage or another loan officer, you guys interview your people closely. You're partnering with somebody who's going to help you stay in touch with people. And so ask them, do you use your CRM every single day? Ask your loan officer, do you use your CRM? How are you going to stay in touch with any referrals I send your way? What communication are they going to receive from you? Because when you're doing these real estate transactions, you're really partnering with that lender, whether you chose that lender or not, because it's you and that person. We're the ones writing the check. So it's the lender you have to make happy, and you guys are jumping through hoops for. Same thing for the buyers and the sellers, because he who holds the money calls the shots, makes the rules, right? So making sure that you can communicate and how well they're going to communicate with everybody in that process matters. And for us to be able to do what we do, if we did it without a CRM, it would just be an absolute mess. So ask people, are you using a CRM? Every one of you guys, if you're not using your CRM, if you haven't been using our CRM and you've been referring us business, we can click on one tab and show you and give you all of the information on all of the referrals you have ever sent our way, so that you can start putting your CRM together based on that information. Because we've been keeping it that way for over 10 years. So we have it in there. So in the event that you're a one-man show in a lot of cases, we've got a team. So if for some reason you're out in the middle of somewhere and you don't have an opportunity to pull your computer out and enter in the information, you don't have it yet on your app, you can do a screenshot, send it to us, and we'll go ahead and get them in the system. And then whenever you get back to a computer where you can do an email introduction, you can do an email introduction because we got it in the system for you. So it's that partnership. That's what makes it work. I share this slide with you. Every one of our loan officers have on the back of their business cards are a VC card. And the reason I share this with you guys is because you should too. So on the back of your card, if you have a QR code like this and you run across somebody in the grocery store and you have your QR code that saves all your information into their phone, then you've got now a text message where you can go ahead and put their information into your phone. And it's just a great way to keep up with referrals. So a VC card, if you have a QR code on the back of your card, it's going to go straight to the contact section of somebody's phone when they scan this. And you have them go ahead and save you in your phone. And then have them send you a text message real quick with their information. And that's another way for you to keep up with their information until you can get to a CRM and enter it into the system. Does that make sense? It's just using the technology that we have available to us just to be more efficient and more organized, because you don't want to forget anybody. Again, the next classes that we will have, I've got lots of time for Q&A. I went through that super fast because I wanted you guys to ask lots of questions. Because if there's one thing I want y'all to get out of the 6-week series is because I've had these CRM classes several times and we've had this conversation several times and several of you still don't have your CRM set up. So my goal is for you guys to get a CRM set up and then email me so I can celebrate with you. And then if you want to bring your laptop in to my office, we'll go through your CRM and help you get that set up because you need it. There is no way this up here can keep up with everything you've got going on. It's not possible. I mean, it is possible, but it would take a lot more meditation and prayer and caffeine and sleep and all of those things. Again, if you guys didn't catch the Facebook group, go ahead and catch that Facebook group. Back to the classes. Sign up for the rest of these classes. We built these out so that one leads to the other, leads to the other, leads to the other, so that you guys have a firm foundation. I'm going to leave the conversation with this, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A. It is the activities that you're doing today that's going to be your referrals that you're going to receive in the next 30 to 60 days. It's the follow-up of those referrals for the next 60 to 90 days that will lead to contracts. But only if you're following up.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes.
On the Eventbrite that I saw, there were some dates that were Tuesday dates. Or are you bouncing back and forth from Tuesday, Wednesday, or should they all be Wednesday dates?
Okay, pull that up and share your screen. I want to look at that because I was going to ask that same question, and I'm so glad you brought that up. You always read my mind.
I don't have it pulled up. I had put everything in on my calendar, and I thought maybe you weren't available on some Wednesdays. So,
yeah, so it's only that 1 week, right, BJ?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So glad you brought that up, Danny. I was going to, next week, we are going to meet on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. And the reason is because I've got all day CE on Wednesday. Can't make it. Register for the class, even if you can't make it on Tuesday, because then you'll get the YouTube playback. Yep. You'll be on an airplane? Yeah, I'm sorry to do that to you guys, but I need to get my CE done. And so I was gonna knock it out in person, all in one day this year. So we bumped that to Tuesday. I was hoping that one of the loan officers could cover, but they're all coming too. So Tuesday next week, Danny.
Okay, thank you. Are you doing the foundation repair class on the 19th?
No,
Okay,
I'm not qualified for that. I've fixed a lot of foundation in my years, but not physically, but no. No. All right. Anybody have any questions on CRMs? Any experience they want to share?
There's a couple of people on CRM, but obviously they registered on my website, and so I call them and I say, oh, that wasn't me, or
That's a good one. So what do you do whenever you have, if you have a lead generation, if you have lead generation built into your website and you get a bunch of, would you call that bogus contact information?
but the number's correct. I call them, they answer.
So the question is, you call them and you actually reach a person, so the information is correct, but they act like, they're not the ones that clicked any buttons or signed up for anything. What do you do? I'm going to ask Carmen, what do y'all do in that situation, Carmen? You still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Say that again. So sorry.
So, well, with y'all's website, y'all have a lead generating website.
Yes.
And so
yes.
you get someone that clicks, and so you've captured their information off the website.
Yes.
And you call them and they act like they don't know who you are and why you're calling them. Do y'all leave them into the CRM? What do y'all do in that case? Do y'all continue to follow up? Do you put them on drip campaigns? Do you opt them out? What do you do?
So usually it depends just on the situation, and they always stress, and we always try to contact them in different ways. So whether it's by phone call, text message, email, but we try to make a contact with them at least 12 times, unless they're just like, hey, I'm not interested in buying or selling, I'm just looking. Then we would just archive them or put them in the trash. So, and we have drip campaigns for people who fall in the middle.
So that's when we receive those too, we wouldn't call them, but we would continue to still send them on, put them into a drip campaign. And then if they opt out, they opt out. But then 6 months, I would be following up with them 90 days later and 6 months later, because if you guys really track whenever you've got those lead generation websites, a lot of times people begin their search process psychologically. Most buyers are thinking about buying 6 to 9 months before they actually reach out. And so a lot of them are just button clicking, tire kicking, but it will lead to a move later or circumstances have changed. So I wouldn't stop. Yeah, I'd still keep them in the system. They have the option to opt out. Yeah.
I'd go so far as to say, praise God, you've got a warm body at the end of the phone, because this day and age, that doesn't happen that often.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, well, let me just explain a little bit about myself and give them 30 seconds and say, I'm sure y'all are doing well enough that, you're going to be in the market sooner or later. I'd just like you to keep me in mind, and maybe I could ask you a few questions about what sort of home you'd probably be looking at next. And they'll love the CRM, but just leave them in there.
Yeah. Jeff's suggestion was go ahead and shift the conversation and have a conversation, see if you can build rapport in a relationship, because people have to have a place to live and their circumstances change a lot of times without much notice. So, if you can have enough conversation with them that you can get them to go ahead and save your contact in their phone. I always tell people too, save my contact and put mortgage or money by my name. So whenever you're looking for, you may not think you need me right now, but when you need me later, and you can search in your phone, you may not remember my name, but you'll remember mortgage. So have them save your number by Realtor. So you're easily searched later. Your phone, your Facebook is another good CRM. Facebook could be used as a CRM, but it works better as a partner to your CRM than it does to be your CRM. But if you really used your Facebook or your Instagram account more intentionally, it could be good reminders for you. I mean, for me, I always default to Facebook because it's easier to find the birthdays. It's easier to find, you can put people into certain lists just like you can in a CRM so that you can click on the list and see what's going on in their life. You could create a Facebook list that says past customers. You could create another one that says current clients. You could create another one that says buyers, sellers. You could create all of these lists and move people around in these lists based on their journey, and use that. Now, it's still, I wouldn't use that instead of, but it could be used in partnership with.
Michelle, on our side, I put when I put my clients in my phone, I put RE client in case I have 3 Jane Does. I may have graduated from school with one and know another one through social, but then I have a Jane Doe that's RE client, and that way I can remember who that person is and why I need to call them.
Yeah, and I love that. And the other thing, you know, with your phone, you can stick birth dates in there so that syncs up, and that syncs up with what were you going to say about MetaSuite?
The Meta Business Suite on Facebook, it has a bunch of scheduling, and I believe task features too. So, I mean, if you want to work off of that to go through CRM, it would be super helpful. You can add in all of your details in there too, all your customer details.
So, what Alexa was talking about, she's got a side hustle business. What's it called?
Whiskey business.
Whiskey business. That's right. It's baked goods, yummy stuff, great closing gifts, FYI. But she was saying in that MetaSuite, you can go in there and even schedule tasks in there. Of course, you can schedule posts. You can go ahead and put contact information or more detailed information about people in your for your contacts within that business suite. So
it'll host analytics too. It'll run
and it will run your analytic reports for you. So if you really wanted to geek out and start there and then transfer after you get organized with your Facebook through Meta, then you could build your CRM out after you've organized all of your contacts through Meta.
It'll link up with your Instagram too, and you can schedule all your posting by it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can joint post between Instagram and Facebook really easy through Meta. My point is, you guys, if you're not doing, you got to do the activities, but you need to be able to track the activities, and you also have to be able to follow up. So yes, we talked about 1 hour of prospecting a day, but you also need to be spending 1 hour a day working on your business, working on this stuff, because if you don't, it won't get done. So find some time on your calendar right now before we leave, and we have, depends on what clock we go with. We got a minute and a half. I want you guys to all look at your calendar and figure out what hour a day you're going to prospect, what hour a day you're going to work on your business. I use the 4 to 6 because it's easier to reach people by phone. I use the morning to work on my business because I'm a little bit more focused. I've caffeinated up and I'm ready to go. Everybody's different. So you find your time. 1 hour working on your business, 1 hour prospecting. 10 to 11 is your prospecting.
Let people are more for being eager to talk.
I love it. Tracy does her prospecting 10 to 11 because she feels they're perkier and easier to talk to. They're caffeinated up. So find your time on your calendar. Yeah.
Everybody wants to know about the side hustle whiskey gifts and how they found it. So we need to let
Facebook.
Yeah, Whiskey Business Bakery and Company.
Whiskey Business Bakery and Company. Yeah, that's easy closing gifts. And I guess if we worked out a deal, you could pick it up from the office on your way to a closing. We're pretty close to most of the title companies. Swing by and grab it. All right. I hope this was worth your 2 hours of time. You guys get some stretching and exercise since y'all been sitting for so long. Appreciate your time, and I'll see you on Tuesday next week.
Thank you so much.